Hello, everybody. Welcome back this time for a Week 14 breakdown of the Draftkings slate. I'm your host, Mike Murray. If you guys enjoy the content, give the video a thumbs up. Really helps a lot. Love reading guys' comments down below. Let me know the guys you're on this week. We can always feel like we have better weeks when we have a dialogue going back and forth in the comment section. So let me know your plays this week. And don't forget to subscribe and to tell other people you know who like DFS and fantasy to subscribe because, like I said, we will still be making content in the off season for things like best ball and following. I'm sorry, guys, following the NFL news and all that type of stuff, which never really stops. So the draft, it's NFL season really doesn't end. So uh, it's a big slate today this week with the bye weeks over. So I don't want to waste people's time too much. I'm going to try to go through the games a little bit quicker this week because there's I think there's 13 games. So I'm going to try to get through these quick. There's two games that I really like, and there's a couple. There's two more. There's two games on like I'll call it tier one of the games I'm attacking, and then there's two games on like tier two that I think are also interesting, and that's really it. I think there's some games here that are going to be on big slates like this, guys, to help you guys out a little bit, at least from my point of view. You got to kind of go through some of these games and just think to yourself, this is going to be an ugly game. There's a couple games in here I think might be just ugly, low-scoring games, and let's just get into this slate right now so we can get through this. Okay, the first game we have is Carolina at Atlanta. This is an interesting game with the firing Ron Rivera. Those guys really love Ron Rivera, and sometimes you see this when a coach gets fired, the team almost rallies together to like win for the coach that got fired. I know it seems kind of weird, but I like the Carolina passing attack here. I don't think Carolina has a big incentive to keep giving McCaffrey the workload that he was getting. He's not going to get the MVP. He's already probably the offensive player in the year, even if he doesn't do much these next couple weeks. I really like. I don't like Kyle Allen's price, 5,700. There's just a couple guys in that range I think just have bigger ceilings. I do like Kyle Allen. Kyle Allen to DJ Moore. Love this week with no Greg Olsen. DJ Moore is way too cheap. Dude, go look at DJ Moore since the bye week. Dude, he's getting like 10 targets a game. Like, he should not be 7K. He should be more. He should be in the high sevens or the mid sevens. Getting a nice discount on him. He's like 6% owned right now or something crazy like that against Atlanta. DJ Moore goes crazy inside domes. He's always not always, but I believe he's done well against Atlanta in his career. He does play well indoors. He went off in Detroit, that was indoors. Went off in New Orleans, that was indoors. He scored a long touchdown against Atlanta last year. Like DJ Moore here a lot. On the other side, listen, man, I'm not a believer in Devontae Freeman. I think he's washed up. I think he's got too injury prone. You can't play him here against this bum Carolina run defense. It's their run defense garbage. So you can also play Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley is good with the news. Julio is going to be here. Julio will be on Bradbury, and that means Ridley is going to get matched up on the number 2 corner. Bradbury's pretty good. If you want to get weird and play Julio, it's a shoulder injury, so it's not like it's a like a knee or a hamstring or groin. You could play Julio here, probably low ownership. I'd play Ridley low. I mean, if Julio was out, it would have really put me on Russell Gage because I like attacking Carolina's 2 and 3 corners. But guys, like projecting the corner matchups can be tough sometimes. Sometimes maybe they're going to put Bradbury on Ridley and Julio goes off. But I don't know. I think Ridley has looked really good to end the season here, so I like Ridley to run it back. But my favorite play in this game is DJ Moore, and it's really not even close. That's the thing I feel most confident in here. Like I said, you could play Freeman. Freeman's probably my favorite play on the other side, but I don't know, man. It's a price play. Okay. Baltimore at Buffalo. Guys, the way you're going to evaluate this game is what team do you think is going to win this game? Play the running back on that team. If you think Buffalo wins a game, play Singletary because that's how you beat the Ravens. If you think, like me, that the Ravens are going to win this game, play Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram has already crushed the Bills when he was with the Saints last year or 2 years ago. This just seems like a game they're going to feed Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram's snap share has been a little bit concerning here. It just seems like too often I look up and Gus Edwards is in the game or Justice Hill, so it scares me. But I think 5,900 is a cheap enough price tag where he can get you we know Mark Ingram has a 30-point plus ceiling. If you got your 30 points, that's 5x value. That's great on a big. Remember, guys, these are big slates. Okay, you need a big score to win. You need like you guys to hit their ceilings. Mark Ingram at 5.9 at Buffalo. That's a good game. Uh, I'm not interested in Lamar. I know Lamar's a beast, but I like Ingram here. You could play Singletary. There's probably be a close game throughout. The Bills probably even be trailing a lot of the game. Suppose, maybe. Or it'll be a close game. They'll be barely leading or trailing. So this would be a Singletary game. He'll get a lot of snaps. I think he got 78% snap share last week. I don't mind Singletary at all. You can definitely play Devin Singletary here. I'm probably just going to roll with Ingram from this game, though. Hold on a second. Ladies and gentlemen, let me pull this up. Where did it go? Okay. The next game is Cincinnati at Cleveland. Sneaky game here. A little bit of a sneaky game here. Obviously, the big news in this is that OBJ is talking about next season. Now he's saying he doesn't want to leave Cleveland. Something to monitor. OBJ is at 14% owned. He's one of the highest earned receivers right now on the slate. Just not sure about this, man. I mean, you can't beat Cincinnati's corners on the outside. But they've only let up one big game to an opposing receiver, and it was Cooper Kupp from the slot. Probably would more favor Jarvis, but you know something? Let's start from the Cincinnati side and get back to Cleveland. What I would go with here, and if I don't feel confident in this, it's Dalton to Ross, but that's contingent on Ross getting snapped. I'm going to have to look more into that, but Ross at low ownership is always in play. Cleveland has been struggling defending downfield passes. Their run defense we know is bad, but I just don't trust Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon's getting a lot of volume lately, so like I'm not playing him, but if you're on him, I'm not going to talk you off of him. But this could just be a Nick Chubb game, guys. I know everybody wants to get that Odell game when he gets right, but I just don't know if this is the matchup. I played Odell at the same price against Buffalo, but this is a better matchup than Buffalo, obviously. I just don't know, man. I just don't know. Cincinnati's been pretty good against receivers. They've been pretty bad against a run. And if you do like a running back here, to me, it's Chubb. It's just Chubb. You just hope they blow out the Bengals. The Bengals coming off a win going on the road. It kind of feels like a game where the Browns blow them out. But hey, maybe Baker force feeds the ball to Odell, or maybe he says, "Hey Odell, you're already complaining. You've been here for 3/4 of 1 year. You're already complaining about where you're going to be next year. Screw you. I'm not throwing you the butt." You don't know. That's what Baker did when Duke Johnson started complaining. He kind of said, "Hey man, you're with us or you're against us." Maybe that's how he views Odell. Like I said, my favorite play from this game is Nick Chubb. I probably will throw Odell in on some teams, but my play from the game is Chubb. And on the Bengals side, it's thin, man. We have to get confirmation that John Ross is going to get a big snap count. Even though he's a big play guy, I want to get confirmation about that before I roll him out. Washington at Green Bay. Kind of have a feeling. Well, the big news here is Aaron Jones popped up with an ankle injury. If he's out, Jamal Williams becomes a lock. I mean, he's going on every team against Washington. Geis on the other side, it is a good matchup. I'm not going to play Geis. You certainly could. I'm a big Geis fan. I'm going to be drafting a lot of him next year. I don't know. Feels a little point chasey. If you want to, you certainly can. It's affordable. You can definitely crush that price tag. But I like the Green Bay running back here. I have a feeling, some weird feeling that Aaron Jones is going to be out and Jamal Williams is going to be mega chalk, and a chalk that I'm going to eat. And if Aaron Jones is out, feel comfortable eating the Jamal Williams chalk. That's fine. That's fine chalk. Catches passes. There's really no backup. Well, there is, but he's not very good. So Green Bay D at 4K. I'm not. It's just not. I don't know. If you want to pay up for a D, Green Bay. I don't know, man. Because you could. I'm not gonna. They are on a couple of my teams. I just don't feel good about it because they don't average many points a game, and I also like the Green Bay running back here the most. Honestly, whoever that is, and I guess you could be on the defense too. Detroit at Minnesota. This is the pay up defense I kind of like this week is Minnesota. You're gonna get David Blow, whatever his name is, on the road. Everyone's saying he didn't look too bad. I thought he looked terrible, man. I thought he hit that one pass to Galladay, and he does not pass with any accuracy, any consistency, any touch. It's a good matchup if you believe in that guy, but Minnesota coming off a loss, coming home against a third-string QB. I kind of like the Minnesota defense for paying up this week. If you're paying up for defense this week, to me, there's a couple options. There's Minnesota, there's Green Bay. And there's a couple D's down below we'll get to in a little bit. Just one D specifically down below that I really like. And it's a little dicey, but I'm going to roll with it this week anyways. So that's it. I like the minute. Dalvin Cook, 9,500. I think he's going to be low owned with that shoulder injury. Guys, the reason I think Dalvin Cook's rushing back is because he sees this trend, and not that getting a little off topic here, it has nothing to do with the slate. It does a little bit, but he sees this trend of running backs not mattering, and the last thing he wants to do is let Alexander Madison come in there and show the hell out, and then come back and kind of put it in the Vikings management's mind that, yo, we're gonna ride Dalvin into the ground, and when it comes to pay him, we're just gonna roll with Madison. Tom Brady knows this. You don't let your backup on the field. You stay on the field. So Dalvin's a really good tournament play. I don't think people are going to be on him at that price tag. People have already gotten burned in an elite matchup against Kansas City when Dalvin was 9K plus. They're not going to want to go back there. Dalvin Cook is a great tournament play. Dalvin Cook's a great tournament at home against an equally bad rush defense. Dalvin Cook's a really nice tournament play here. I like that. I like Dalvin. If I'm paying for a running back this week, I like Dalvin Cook and Nick Chubb. Those are the two pay-up options. Let's just keep it moving, guys. San Francisco at New Orleans. I like Debo from the San Francisco side. And you're just going to have to hope he gets matched up with P.J. Williams. I don't think these Saints corners are going to shadow. I don't. I think that they're going to just play aside. I like Debo. Debo gets some slot run. That's where P.J. Williams plays. Kendrick Bourne is the most slot guy, but I'm just not playing Kendrick Bourne. You want P.J. Williams is the guy who couldn't defend DJ Moore, DJ Moore was running all over in that Saints Panthers game a couple weeks ago. So Debo's my play on San Francisco, and on the other side, I see Kamara's price tag at 7K. Wouldn't fault anybody for playing him. San Francisco is susceptible with the run D. But I just think it's Michael Thomas, man. I know the 49ers don't give up explosive plays, but that's not why you play Thomas. You play Thomas because they kind of like just the volumes. 8,300, I mean, all he needs is 30 points, Who do you feel better about getting to 30 points, Kamara or Thomas? For me, it's Thomas, but this could be a game where Sean Payton just unleashes Alvin Kamara at a really reduced price. It's a big game. The Saints need a lot of people like San Francisco this week. I don't know. I kind of like New Orleans here, man. The Saints need to win this game to ensure home field advantage. They need home field advantage with that offense. That offense is not explosive. They need to play from ahead. The Saints need to win this game. So you could play either Kamara or Thomas at reduced price tags. I would probably lean Thomas, but I don't feel strongly about it. It just seems like Thomas is having the historic season. Just ride him out. But I wouldn't fault anyone for going with Kamara. It seems like he has some touchdown regression coming. So, that I could change back to Kamara if I get a stronger lean to that. But right now I like Thomas over Kamara and Debo on the other side. Here's one of my top tier games of the week. Okay, I missed one of them previously. So we're going to overview that at the end. I'm sorry, guys. There's 4 games I really like. 2 top tier ones and 2 second tier ones. So we'll go to that at the end of the video. This spoiler alert is the top game I like on the entire slate. And this would be the Dolphins going to the Jets. A lot of people are going to think it's point chasey. I don't know. I don't think it is. My plan, the Dolphins, would be Fitz to Gesicki. Let other people chase that Parker game. The Jets corners have been playing much better. It sounds like Jamal Adams is not going to play this week, so it puts me on Gesicki. Gesicki almost had 100 yards against them the last time. And on the Jets, we need to get to Le'Veon Bell news. I didn't expect this, but it sounds like Le'Veon might miss. He's sick, so that would put a lot of people on Bilal Powell here. We'll have to wait and see, man. Like I said, we're going to have to wait and see about this. But I love Robbie Anderson here. You can even, guys, this is something we're gonna have to wait. I don't like doing this to you guys. I try to wait as late in the week as possible, but we're gonna have to wait on the Jets because everyone's in play against Miami at every position. They can't defend anything. The running back is in play. Crowder and Anderson. I like Anderson a lot. Yeah, Anderson always goes off at home. He goes off against more teams that play man-to-man defense. This is what the Dolphins do mostly. So I like Robbie Anderson here. You could pair him with Sam Darnold. Him and Fitzpatrick are the same price. And, yeah, If it's Powell, what I like, if Powell is the running back, I like going Fitzpatrick to Gesicki and running it back with Powell on one team, and then you could add an Anderson on another. You know what I'm saying? You can go. So, for example, one of the teams would obviously be Fitz, Powell at running back, and then with Gesicki, and then a separate team would be Fitzpatrick to Gesicki, Anderson, and Powell. I like that. That's a cheap, man. That is a cheap stack with a lot of upside. On a slate like this, man, you're gonna need a big score to win. Remember that when you're making your teams this week, guys. You don't want to overpay for guys who don't have a big gap to crush their ceiling. You want guys who can. Robbie Anderson can crush a $5,100 price tag again in this matchup. Okay, so yeah, this is my favorite game on the slate. There's another game that's pretty close behind it though that we're gonna get to, I believe, next. Yes, it is next. Indianapolis at Tampa Bay. News today that Kenny Moore, slot cornerback for the Colts, is going to be out. Here we go. We're going to start on the Indy side. I don't like Brissett in this matchup. What I like is Paris Campbell on the Colts. Okay, I want whoever's going to play in the slot. I originally liked Jack Doyle because if Campbell was going to be out, Doyle would have gotten a lot of slot run. Give me Paris Campbell. The Colts, I feel like you're going to feature Campbell in this game. I think he's going to be pretty high owned. I think he's going to come in around 15%. Anything below that's crazy. I mean, 3,200, he's an explosive athlete. Tampa can't defend the slot. So I like Campbell primarily. You can play Doyle if you want. Wouldn't hate that at all. Another thing to mention with Mike Gesicki from the last game is this is a kind of like a hometown narrative going back home to the New Jersey, New York area. So probably have a lot of friends and family there. And plus, it's just a good matchup. So let's get back to this game. On the Tampa Bay side, a little bit trickier. I like Evans over Godwin, but guys, with that news, I think you can go Jameis to Evans and Godwin. I really do. I really do. And I earlier in the week, I was going to play OJ Howard at 3,200. OJ Howard got a pretty good, quietly a nice game against Atlanta. 5 catches for 61 yards, I believe, on 6 targets. Pretty good game. We all know Jameis Winston destroys zone defense. That's what the Colts play. So I like Jameis here. Mainly with Evans, but you can throw in Godwin as a double stack and run it back with Campbell or Jack Doyle. I don't hate any of that. If you want to save some money, I don't even hate going with picking Evans and then going to OJ Howard. I don't hate that, man. So I like the Tampa Bay side a lot here. I think you can cherry pick a player like Campbell on the Colts. I wouldn't pair him with Brissett. Brissett's been struggling lately, though, man, and this Tampa team can get out to the quarterback. I don't even hate the Tampa defense down here. I don't. But it's just tough for me to see with Kenny Moore out, that Jameis not crushing this defense. So, that's what I like here. I'm sorry that it's a little bit broad, guys, but, I don't want to lie to you guys. The next game, Denver at Houston. Guys, a lot of people getting on Will Fuller here, man. And this just seems like a game that the Texans are going to, like, we see this all the time with Houston, man. They come off a big win, and then people get on them at the next spot, and they just lay an egg. It's just going to be like a 10-3 game at halftime. I have a feeling that this game is going to be one of those games. Doesn't mean that a player can't go off. The 2 guys in this game that I like are Courtland Sutton. Courtland Sutton's from Houston, so he's going to have people. It's a good matchup, too. It's a great matchup, too. A little bit nervous about pairing him with Drew Lock on the road. So Sutton, and also, guys, Phillip Lindsay. This Houston run defense has been playing really bad lately, so I like Phillip Lindsay here, too. I actually think I like Lindsay over Sutton. I originally liked Sutton a lot, but I don't know. Now they got the Drew Lock game on tape. They're probably going to do some things to challenge him, and I guess his tendencies down. I don't know if I'm a believer in Drew Lock yet. I like Lindsay here. I think this is a good spot for Phillip Lindsay. I think Lindsay's due for a pretty big game with the volume he's been getting. On the other side, you can't play Will Fuller. It's getting a little bit too popular for me, though, man. We know that you attack the Broncos with number 2 receivers who can run vertical, which is exactly what Fuller does. So you can play Fuller. He can definitely crush a $5,500 price tag. I'll have some teams with Fuller, but I just have a weird feeling this is going to be a boring, slow-paced, ugly game. I just do. I don't know what it is. And on big slates like this, guys, you got to eliminate some game, you got to kind of identify what games are going to be boring and not have a lot of fantasy goodness in them. And this could be one of them. LAC at Jacksonville. This could be another one of them, man. This LAC offense is discombobulated. I know Jacksonville's defense is terrible, but I don't know, man. If I was gonna play anything from this game, it's just a lot of people like Mike Williams with Phillip Rivers, and I think the only way that hits is if you like Fournette on the other side, and you go Fournette, who I like way more with Gardner Minshew at quarterback, like Fournette with Rivers at QB to Mike Williams, or Hunter Henry. Guys, I think this is a better Melvin Gordon spot, but I don't know. I just don't want to back this Chargers offense on the road here, man. I really don't. I just have a bad feeling about this. I have a feeling at the end of the slate, I'm going to be looking at myself like, why am I backing parts of the Chargers passing game on the road? Like, just Philip Rivers is dust, man. The only thing I like here, I even get scared going to Melvin Gordon at that price tag, man. Because you're getting a part of a Philip Rivers-led offense on the road. Ugh, man. I mean, if I was going to play anything, I'd probably just swallow it and play Melvin Gordon. But I'm very apprehensive about doing so. Very apprehensive. I'd rather play Mark Ingram at that price range, personally. But, on the other side, I don't think I like Fournette here. Derwin James back kind of takes me off of. It takes me a little bit off of Leonard Fournette. I think this Chargers defense with Derwin James plays a lot better, even though he's not necessarily a run stuffer. Hold on, I was gonna look something up real quick. I'm sorry. Even though he's not necessarily a run stuffer, they seem to play better with Derwin James in there. Definitely a price tag Fournette could crush. I kind of like Chubb better than Fournette this week. Um, Fournette's going to have another big game this year. People are going to see that the defense has a nice little green sign next to it on DraftKings. Just not sure this is the week, man. Just not sure this is the week. So my favorite play is Melvin Gordon from this game, but this might just be another ugly game that you want to avoid. But Gardner Minshew's getting the start again. You could play from the angle, like, he knows he's the starter now. He's going to be more fearless and aggressive. Certainly is an angle I kind of like. I mean, so I don't know. This is a weird game, man. The only way I think this game turns into a really juicy fantasy game is if the Jaguars get out in front and the Chargers have to play catch up. Because I don't think the Chargers are just going to be gunning the ball down the field and connecting on them just from the jump. Tennessee at Oakland. Everyone's on Tannehill here. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. But with news that Humphreys is out today, that's why I love making the videos on Fridays, guys. We get more injury news. We're still waiting on a lot of injury news. Humphreys is out. Brown is banged up. Could be a Corey Davis or a Jonnu Smith spot. I was on Jonnu Smith last week. One of those two guys are certainly in play. So is Derrick Henry. Why aren't people talking about Derrick Henry? Derrick Henry's been a beast. Way better matchup than he had last week. Colts run defense actually stopping the run efficiency-wise. Really good. So, I think I like Henry and Smith the most here. I know I said Davis, but Davis is at 3,900, super cheap. Definitely could go off. I think he's going to garner some ownership though with all this news. But those three guys are the only thing I like from this game. I don't trust Oakland. If Derek Carr could throw the ball down the field, I would love Tyrell Williams here, but he can't throw the ball down the field. Darren Waller at 5,800. I just don't like that price tag. I'm sorry. Darren Waller with Hunter Renfrow emerging has really had his value take a hit. 5,800 is tough to pay, man, for his ceiling. I just don't know about that on a big slate. You're going to basically need like a 25, 26 point game, which is asking a lot. Not to say he can't do it, but just wish he was about $400, $300 cheaper. That's a little bit too expensive for me. Casey at New England. The toughest game with the most widest range of outcomes on the entire slate. This could be a very ugly, low-scoring game, or it could be the biggest. It's the highest total game in the slate. Could be a total shootout, man. Every time these two teams play, the games hit the over. Every time in the last couple of years, dating back to the last 3 or 4 times, I think the games are always shootouts. my personal opinion, if I was playing it from the Chiefs side, you know, I think Travis Kelce is kind of due for a big game against the Patriots. I do. They've held him down so long. I think Belichick always focuses on taking away the vertical element of this KC passing offense, and I think that Kelce is the play here. I did want to play Watkins, but man, you just can't play Sammy Watkins anymore. You can also play Darwin Thompson. He's going to be seating the field a little bit, but he can't pass protect, so I'm probably not going to play him. It's a thin play for me at 4K. I like Kelce here. I think Kelsey's the play, and on the other side, I mean, you can play Mahomes. Obviously, I'm not gonna tell you that. I have a feeling that the Patriots are going to come out here and just stuff the ball into Sony Michel's belly like 25 times. I really do. I think that they know they can't get to a shootout with this team, and they need to come out. That's what they do every time they play the Chiefs. Back when they had Mike Gillisley, they ran the ball down the Chiefs' throat. They did it with Sony Michel. They did it in the championship game. They always try to establish the run against Kansas City. So that's what they're going to try to do. It doesn't mean they're going to be successful in doing so as far as keeping the Chiefs from not exploding down the field. So, guys, this is a really interesting game. This is an interesting game. I think this game's going to come way under-owned. This is a really good spot to stack as far as ownership and leveraging the field. Everyone's going to that Tennessee game in the late window. I like this game in the late window. This is my game in the late window. Is this KC New England game? But like I said, it has a widest range of outcomes because everyone's on KC this week. Guys, you don't get rich betting against the Pats in Foxborough. You just don't. You don't get rich betting against New England late in the season in Foxborough, and everyone's doing so. Kind of a feeling the Patriots find a way to win this game. If I was going to stack it, it would be something like Mahomes to Kelce, run it back with like Michelle or White and Julian Edelman. And you could even, the most controversial player in this game is Tyreek Hill. Definitely. He's under 5% owned right now, man. He always crushes New England, man. He always, except for the AFC Championship game. That's the last thing people are going to remember. Tyreek Hill is super interesting here, man. Super interesting. This could ascend to the tier 1 of the games I like this week. It very well could. So, was that the last game of the slate? No, it's not. Oh, yeah, just Pittsburgh, Arizona. I like the Arizona defense for cheap. Tampa Bay and Arizona, 2 defenses I like for cheap this week. Mainly Arizona because I just don't believe in the Duckster, man. I think the Ducks are due for a blow-up game. Traveling across the country, laying points. After a big win, give me AZ defense, man. You can't play Larry Fitzgerald. He went to Pittsburgh University. I've checked the stats. He always kind of does well against Pittsburgh, and it's a good matchup, too, in the slot. It's a good price tag for him at 4,700. He definitely could beat up that price tag. The Steelers get beat up from the slot. You also could play Christian Kirk here. I don't hate that. He's kind of due for a big game, it feels like. I don't think Isabella's getting enough snap share to really warrant anything, so I like Fitzgerald though for something. I don't know. I think I go Kirk over Fitzgerald here just because I don't, like I was saying before. I just think you need a big scorer in the slate like this, and I don't know if Larry Fitz gonna need to catch 2 touchdowns. Because Kirk's been playing more on the perimeter, and they get beat up more from the slot. But just Kirk's like 5,200, and Fitz is 47. They just don't have the same ceiling. Kirk has a way higher ceiling. So, guys, to overview the slate, I'm sorry this video went a little long. It's a big slate. I'm going to wrap it up like this. Tier 1 for the games I like are the Miami Jets game, number 1. The Miami Jets game, number 1. Number 2 is the Indy Tampa game. I'm going to throw in the Kansas City New England game into the top tier, too. That'll be the 3rd game. But, man, that game is crazy. That game can go a million different ways. So just be aware of that. That game could go to number 1 if I do some more research and figure it out. And the game in the 2nd tier by itself is that Carolina-Atlanta game. I think that game is very interesting. And those are the 4 games I would really key in on. If I had to, I'm not trying to overload you guys. If I had to throw one more game that I think can be a little bit of a little juicy, probably the Cincinnati-Cleveland game. Because with Dalton, it seemed like their offense was functioning better. No, he's not going to play with fear that he's going to get yanked out of the game. And the Browns need to win this game. The Browns, well, they don't need to win, but it'll be nice to win. And Nick Chubb always crushes Cincinnati. The last 2 games last year, I think he had like 35 points or more in each of the 2 games against Cincinnati. No, he didn't. What am I talking about? That's not true. Baker crushes Cincinnati. but that was with Hugh Jackson in Cincinnati. So that's a game, man, I'm a little bit iffy on. Sorry for the long video, guys. I really appreciate you guys watching. If any of you stayed till the end, thank you very much. I appreciate your support. Let's win some money this week. And don't forget, the Saturday update will be tomorrow afternoon around 4 or 5 or 6 o'clock. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful day.